Hello everyone, welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host Liam, aka Hembar, and today I decided I'd do a fourth video. I should have done more of these over the years, and I just kind of spaced it. These are videos where I mostly just read short stories for an author I've never read before, and I kind of talk about that experience. And in large part, though, just so you might go out and read someone that maybe you've never heard of or maybe haven't tried. So what I wanted to talk about today, in particular, was Jane de la Vaudère, um, de la Vaudère, and this is an author. That's a decadent author, actually. I believe she has a label of naturalist as well. But from for the most part, late 19th centuries and early 20th century. Um, and her is actually a pen name for Jean Scrive. Scrive looks like it might be related to the word writer, which I think is funny. But she was born on the 15th of April, 1857, died on the 26th of July, 1908. And she was a poet, playwright, novelist. Actually seemed to have been in contact with Emile Zola somehow with her for theater stuff. But she's known for short novels like The Demisexes, The Androgynes, Satanics, and whatnot. So what I got a hold of was The Double Star and Other Occult Fantasies, which was translated from French by Brian Stableford. There's a 2020 translation. I believe Stableford actually passed away earlier this year. But the stories themselves are from 1890 to 1908. Now, I'm not going to talk about all of them here today. I'm going to talk about the first three in the collection because I feel like it gives you a good variety. And I mean, I think it is accurate to describe them as fantasy stories of decadence and the occult. And in particular, when you're getting to like this decadent stuff and getting into the occult, it is kind of scientific, and in some ways, it is early sci-fi. In particular, the Double Star itself, which is the third story in the collection. So the first one actually was probably my favorite. That is Emmanuel's centenary, celebrating 100 years of this poet who is dead, right? Emmanuel, which starts with ruminations on reincarnation. Where a young man thinks he is Emmanuel. Whether he is or not, that's kind of left up in the air. Um, and that is lovely, actually, because that gives us ideas like, is this guy mad? But we feel bad for him anyways. So he is a poet, right? Reborn. And it goes kind of from, we get this plot slowly as he is rejected by his lovers, right? The people who love Emmanuel don't like him, right? And we also have a bunch of lovely musings kind of like interspersed throughout. Like, for example, here's a quote. He sings his eternal canticle recklessly, disdaining to make himself understood to the prejudiced individuals who remain deaf to the humble and the resigned. Or the success that sometimes crowns us always has ironic laughter at the corners of its lips, which I just think is lovely. And it's just, the grief of no one recognizing Emmanuel. And also, again, the madness of it, right? Like, is he actually Emmanuel? It doesn't really matter, right? I mean, like, I feel like you'll probably feel for this character anyways, who, if I remember correctly, goes nameless, but I might be misremembering. So again, there's kind of this underlying sense of science, so particularly related to Poe and like his idea of the perverse, though. And I think Stableford does a great job with this translation in particular. He kind of builds up this romantic idea, particularly around the word amour, which just means love, of course, in French, but he doesn't translate it. He just leaves it in there. So the second story, which is I think it's A Vengeance, maybe it's just Vengeance. I can double check real quick. This one feels a little bit more like just a normal gothic story in a sense. It is about someone dying, and they're going to go with their lover, and the lover has had something horrible and maybe supernatural happen to them, and it's told from the point of view of this other character. Right, we figure out that his dog has died because he wanted the dog to die because it was bothering him because of all the weird haunting stuff going on. It's a little longer. It draws it out into this gothic eeriness. A Vengeance. And it's a really well done sort of it. I think not my favorite of the three, actually my least favorite of the three. My second favorite is actually the last story here, and that is the Double Star, which is more of a sci-fi. Kind of reminds me of A Voyage to Arcturus, so it's definitely older than that. It starts this way, actually. Here's the opening line. It says, "I was not yet born, or rather, I was already dead. It seemed to me that I had been sleeping for a very long time, a dreamless sleep, peaceful and reparative. I felt a singular lightness, and when I raised myself on my elbow in order to examine the things that surrounded me, I perceived that I had wings. And I just love that opening, and it actually fits really well with how the story ends, the last paragraph, which I won't share here with you. But it gets really in this idea of human connection to life and to death, idea of God and of itself, and just things kind of out there. It kind of reminded me of some older sci-fi, or what we generally call anachronistically sci-fi. This adventure that is really looking at something about human society, but it takes this fantastic speculative look or lens to do so. So that's pretty much it. I just want to keep this really short. I really enjoyed these. I definitely want to read some more of these short stories, but also some of these short novels, particularly maybe the historical ones in particular, but also maybe the more occult ones. So we'll kind of see. I don't know exactly which ones would be to my liking. I'm pretty broke right now, so we'll see which ones I just end up getting to. I do want to say that I had never heard of this author except for by one person alone, and that was Bryn Hammond, who is an author who's released some stuff in New Edge Sword and Sorcery. He also has a novella coming out soon. And so I haven't actually told Bryn thanks or anything. I just keep seeing her post about it on New Edge Sword and Sorcery Discord server, and I was like, let me try out this Jane de la Vaudère. So that's again Bryn Hammond, and she's got the novella Waste Flowers coming out soon. But you can go check out any stuff she has now. But again, that's just a little thank you for recommending this, not to me directly, but in general. And I took it and I liked it. So maybe you would like this stuff as well. So, anyways, Liam from Liam's Lyceum. I'll catch you next.